Привет! Меня зовут Shahrazad, and I am a dancer from USA, and I currently live in Egypt. I started belly dancing when I was about 10 or 11 years old. I had seen some belly dance videos advertised on TV where I was living, and I don't know what it was, but I was immediately obsessed with belly dancing. I had my mom buy me the videos, and then after I practiced with the videos for a long time, I asked her to find me classes, and I was lucky that there was a dance teacher named Maya, very close to where we lived. So I started with this teacher, and then I worked through many different teachers in the area that I lived. My local area at that time was Philadelphia in the United States. So I took with many of the local instructors, and then I started to travel a little bit outside of my own immediate area to study with more Egyptian instructors. An instructor named Habiba and also another named Najia in the Philadelphia area had introduced me to more of the Egyptian style of dance, and I really liked this specific style. So after I found that, that's when I started going out to the workshops. So I would travel to different cities where there were either Egyptian instructors being brought in to teach workshops, or there were more local teachers that specialized in this style. So I took a lot with Norhan Sharif, and I took a lot with this lady named Fatin, who's an Egyptian folklore troupe dancer. She's amazing. And then I found workshops with Raya Hassan. Those were the teachers. But during the same time, I also started teaching a little bit vocal classes, and then started dancing in some local restaurants and nightclubs. I eventually started working full-time as a performer, and at that time I moved to New York, and then I moved to DC. After a couple years of full-time performing and getting a lot of my videos online, there was more interest for me to teach. So I taught at two big schools in Washington, DC for belly dancing. For a couple years I would teach classes like all week long. The more and more I got videos online and I traveled around to different dance events in my country, I started getting more offers to come teach workshops in different places, and it just kind of exploded from there. And it was a big surprise for me because it was something that I always looked up to, because I went to a lot of workshops when I was learning, and I was just so happy, and I'm still so happy that people are interested in having me come. I do think choreography is very important, especially if you are a professional dancer or a teacher. I think it's really important to be able to show your students how to put all of the movements together in a way that looks nice and makes sense, both on stage and with the music. I do think, however, that a dancer should be able to do both. I think belly dance is mostly based in improvisation, although it does have a lot of choreography when it comes to things like film and a theater stage. But the base is still in social improvisational dance, and there are still many dancers who work full-time in nightclubs and restaurants and beautiful venues across the Middle East, and most of them are still doing improvisation. With live musicians, it is very important because you might not always know what they're going to do, even if you've rehearsed with them. So work on the choreography, but make sure you can also improvise to the music. The best advice that I can give any dancer is to find your own style. This is really important because No one's interested in having an exact copy of another dancer. We already have that dancer. And the other thing is that in belly dance, I really believe that this dance is for so many different looks and bodies and ages. And part of making your own style is making this dance fit on you, because you are unique. Everyone has a unique body and look and feeling and way they hear the music, so you have to use this to your advantage as a dancer. Learn from as many teachers as you can. Learn as many styles as you want. Even if you don't particularly like it, you'll learn something. Even if it's, I don't really like this move, or you might take one little move from a teacher. Learn as much as you can. And then, when you go into the studio, practice your moves, but don't practice them until you think they look like the teacher you learned it from. Practice the movements and slightly change the movements until they fit on your body. And then, don't feel like you have to use everything you've learned, and don't feel like you have to use every step everyone else uses. Use the steps that look best on you and that feel the best for your body and for your interpretation of the music. Yes, I do think that you can be a belly dancer and have a successful relationship. It's best, in my opinion, if you find somebody who is in some way involved in an artistic job, like video, photos, acting, singing, or sometimes in the belly dance community, just so they understand what your passion is and they understand the strange hours and the traveling. That being said, I don't think it's good to work all the time with the person you're with, because you will probably drive them crazy. So find somebody who understands what you do and appreciates what you do and trusts you. Because with all of the traveling and working late nights and strange hours and being around all these different people, I think if you had a jealous partner, it would not be easy. I like many different styles of belly dance, and it all depends on the dancer who's performing it. If I see a dancer come out and she is well educated on the technique, well educated on the music, and knows how to put everything together so it matches and looks great on stage, I enjoy it, no matter what style. Like Russian belly dancers, American belly dancers, tribal belly dancers. If you can come and make a beautiful performance on the stage, I'm going to enjoy it. Russian style is definitely far from my style. There's a big difference between the new style that I see from Russia and Egyptian style, and of course American has their style also. I think almost every country now has developed a little bit of their own style depending on the training that the dancers already have and what teachers have gone to each country the most. You can definitely see the influence in the style. The thing I would like to see most with the Russian dancers is more softness and connection with the music. I like Russian dancers because I think they have so much power and they have so much energy, but you don't have to use that much all the time. So what I would suggest is to see more of a mix between being slow and soft and subtle movements, and mix it with the big, more exciting, more athletic movements to make something with more variation, matching with the different kinds of music. The main thing that catches my eye when I'm watching a competition or a show is when a dancer comes out and I can see her mastery of her technique. So I love to see dancers who really have control over their bodies. I would much rather like to see a dancer who's very, very controlled and uses fewer movements than a dancer who tries to do a lot of things but isn't doing the movements perfectly. And the other thing that I absolutely love to see is the dancer doing that technique and also being able to show on her face how relaxed and how happy she is. Because I think it's so important to make a connection with the audience, and this is through your feeling. It doesn't necessarily have to be happy, but you have to make some kind of connection, and I think the first step to that is showing the audience that you are relaxed and you are in control of what you're doing. These two things, for me, catch my eye the most. Control of your technique and your feeling and relaxation to show me that you can really do everything and you don't have to think too hard about it. And then of course, musicality. I need to see that the dancer understands the music that she's dancing to, the right movements are matching up with the right rhythms and the right instruments, and that she understands a little bit the meaning and the feeling of the song she's dancing to if it has words in it. Not everyone is born with charisma. That's definitely true. But I do think that you can work on it and learn it to a certain point. Maybe not everybody, but I think if you work hard, you can. I think part of it comes with a lot of practice and becoming more comfortable on the stage. When I first started dance, I was very, very shy. And it took me a little while to build my confidence on the stage, because maybe in my first few performances, I was like this. I was very shy. So experience definitely helps. And another thing that really helped me was just the amount of work that I did, and specifically working with audiences that interact back with you. Because in some places, audiences will sit and watch a dancer like this, and at the end, they'll clap. For me, this is very difficult because you can get so much energy and charisma from your audience. And I think working for audiences or dancing for audiences that are very open and supportive and react with clapping or cheering when they see certain moves, it gives you more confidence to be yourself on stage and show a lot of personality. So try to dance a lot in front of people, and try to dance for people that will be very encouraging and supportive if you feel like your charisma is lacking. This is a little bit of a hard question to answer, because as I travel around the world, I see such different things in every single community that I go to. I think where I'm from, back in the States, a lot of people are saying belly dance is less popular now, and there are less people coming into studios and classes for the first time. But then I visit other countries like China, and it seems like it's just exploding. And it's very interesting because I said before, there's so many different styles now, and every place seems to be influenced by the teachers that are coming the most to teach. So some countries I see like this beautiful, artistic, strong Egyptian style developing, and in other places it's opposite. Like there's some countries where tribal is really the main focus. Yeah, I think that it's great, but also maybe a little bit of a problem. The dance now is breaking into so many different directions, and each new style as it emerges, there are going to be some great artists, but also each one of the new styles is so young. I think it takes a little while to develop into a really regular, like, consistent dance style. So it's so interesting because people are breaking off and doing very, very different things, sometimes not with a lot of training in the base style of the dance, which is Middle Eastern, Arabic belly dance with Egyptian style and everything. If you're coming from a place of education and knowing a lot about these styles, it's easier to build something new. But I think it does become a problem if you have the styles and the dancers developing so quickly. I don't think they have a lot of time to learn all of the things necessary to create something new, but make sure it's doing honor to the dances from where the movements you're using are coming from. So I'm torn. I see a lot of dancers I really love and a lot of amazing things going on, but I do wish that I saw a little more connection and education as far as where this dance is coming from, because the folklore and the music and the culture play such important parts in this art form, and not learning so much about them and leaving out those aspects definitely takes away from the dance as an art form. My favorite dancers will always be the classic Egyptian dancers of the golden era. Naimet Mukhtar, maybe my favorite. Nabawaya Mustafa, Soher Zeki, Samia Gamal, like all of this era of dancers I absolutely love and I still get so much inspiration from. They are the first videos that I usually go to watch when I'm looking for new inspiration. I go back, especially now because I feel this is a style that is very rarely done anymore. So actually looking back, you can get some very interesting ideas for steps from these original kind of stars of Egyptian dance. The truth is that I love to travel and I am a huge nerd for history. So anywhere where I can take a day and go to some historical sites or museums, I'm so happy. I think maybe Japan stood out a lot for me because since I was young, I always wanted to go, and I got to go to some temples there that were really amazing. So that was great. And of course, Egypt. I was obsessed with Egyptian mythology and archaeology when I was very young, before belly dancing. So I always tell people that it's so special to be able to spend so much time in Egypt now and see all of these ancient historical monuments, because it was such an interest of mine when I was young. But as far as food goes, I think Taiwan or Korea, one of those was my favorite because I love sushi and barbecue and dumplings and all of this kind of stuff. And yeah, I went crazy in Taiwan because they had a mix of like Japanese and Chinese cuisine styles, and it was great. I ate way too much. I would say the three biggest compliments I get are when people meet me for the first time in workshops and stuff, I get a lot of compliments on my skin and on my height because I'm very tall, and I don't think everyone expects that when they see my pictures. And as far as dance goes, I get a lot of compliments on shimmies. I love shimmies, and they're one of my favorite moves. And recently, I get a lot of compliments on my relaxation in my style, how relaxed I look when I'm dancing and happy. My 3 favorite products right now are, this is my newest lipstick. It's an Urban Decay lipstick, and it's called Matte Menace. I love neon pink, crazy, bright lipstick because I'm very pale and I have black hair, so I want something crazy. And I just started using highlighter, and I think it's amazing for stage. I used to wear like blush, now I'm using highlighter, and it really gives your face more of a shape on the stage, and it's a little shimmery and it looks really nice. This one is by MAC, and it's called Soft and Gentle. And the third one that I love right now is an eyeshadow palette. It's by Urban Decay, and it's called Naked Smoky. This one I've been using so much for my makeup recently. It has like a whole range from dark to light, and it's amazing for doing like smoky cat eyes. It's the best. And for perfumes, I have been in love with this perfume called Flower Bomb for a really long time, but I just got a new perfume as a gift. It is an Egyptian perfume though, so I don't know the name, but I highly recommend, if you're in Egypt, go to a perfume store because they will custom make you perfumes, and they're really nice and they're really strong. So if you put one little squirt on, you'll smell it from across the room all night long. You won't have to wear more perfume. I've had a lot of really wonderful experiences, both performing and teaching, that I look back on and think about a lot. But of course, one of the biggest exciting and amazing performances was one of the first times that I performed in Egypt with a full band on stage. I absolutely love Egyptian music, so dancing with a full orchestra for me it's the best. I love it, and so that's definitely a highlight for me, is the first few times I got to really do a full show with a big orchestra in Egypt. Thank you so much to Podslushano Bellydance International and all of the followers. I had so much fun answering all of your questions, and I really appreciate all of the love and the support coming out of the dancers in Russia. It means a lot to me because I think Russian dancers are very serious and very talented. So it's a big compliment for you to have interest in my dance and my story. So thank you so much.